All right. Week 1 is done, and week 2 is right around the corner. Folks, we are now in football season. We had some upsets, if you want to call week 1 upsets. We had some shockers. And yes, I am here to complain about the Jacksonville Jaguars after week 1. That will happen. But can we just enjoy for a second that you were able to sit down on Sunday afternoon and watch meaningful football for the first time since February? It was a beautiful sight to sight. I changed my ringtone to the NFL Fox jingle because I'm that hyped up.
I could confirm he definitely did do that.
Sick. So week 2 is right here. We have episode 30 right upon us. We are hitting you with rapid reactions of every single game that took place Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. We are then going to dive deep into 2 games. We are going to dive deep into the Browns-Chiefs game, and we are going to dive into the Monday night thriller between the Ravens and the Raiders. And then in segment 3, John and I are going to go give you another round of fantasy sleepers and busts with the professor, because PSP hit on 5 out of 6 sleepers and busts in week 1.
Let's go.
And then it's going to be week 2 of our game picks. Get yourself ready. Week 2 is right around the corner. I want you to get loose, because Perfect Spiral is about to roll up into your queue. Hit the tape.
You play to win the game.
Touchdown! Can't wait.
All right, we are back and we are ready. John, oh, God.
What a play on words there just now. When did you just turn into like...
I'm getting more comfortable.
You are.
I'm getting more comfortable.
There was some
man.
nice, like... It was something going on there.
I'm getting more comfortable. We're on episode 30.
Episode 30.
Craziness. But I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I am Joe Miglio. My co-host John McCarthy is right here.
I am here.
And we have a very, very special episode. This is the first time we're doing a recap of an actual NFL season.
Yeah, this is officially our first season doing this.
Yeah, really. So this is awesome. I wanted to remind everybody to please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe to Perfect Spiral Podcast on any platform you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Google are the main ones, as well as other lower grade like Deezer, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, anywhere you get your podcast. You guys have been fantastic. We have seen, and John, we have seen a major spike in the content from basically fantasy football season. And this past weekend, it skyrocketed.
Yeah, it was insane. Like we're always looking to see where we could get better and trying to see what people like and stuff like that, just to take into account, because it's important. Like we want our listeners to enjoy it, right?
Right,
so
of course.
When we saw what was going on, man, between the Twitter engagement, the TikTok engagement, and just some of the numbers, man, it was amazing. Thank you guys so much. It's been. I texted Joe. I'm like, Joe, this is crazy. This is getting crazy.
And listen, 2 guys that just started to do this for fun, and now it's starting to gain a little traction. It's really nice. So thank you all. Please keep it up, and we'll keep. If you keep helping us out, we will keep giving you better and better content each and every week. John,
you want to get into it right now?
Week 1, just give me an overall review of what you thought about week 1 in general.
So I thought week 1, actually, what's funny is I think week 1 started off a little slow.
Okay.
I think we watched the 1 o'clock slate together. So
we did.
It definitely started off a little slow. Everybody's getting the juices out. Everybody's getting loose, getting going.
Remember, they're not playing preseason.
Yeah, a lot of these guys aren't playing in the preseason. And, coming off of that Thursday night game between the Bucs and the Cowboys.
Very good game.
Very good game, came down to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. And then it just started to get better and better and better and better. And then it just took off. And then we're Sunday night seeing Stafford. That first game in SoFi Stadium, and Stafford just looked incredible.
Right.
And then we get to the Monday Night Thriller. So week one was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to do here first is we're just going to do a rapid recap of all the week one games. We're going to skip the Browns Chiefs, and we're going to skip the Ravens Raiders game because we're going to go into that in more detail in segment 2. But let's go. I'm going to give you a few here. Just give me like a quick nugget about what you thought about the game, right? So I'm gonna give you. Let's go quick. Let's go Thursday night.
Yes.
Buccaneers, Cowboys, 31-29 Bucks.
So Brady looks like Brady.
Right.
A couple of little errors from him that are a little uncharacteristic. But you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you one thing. Dak threw the ball 58 times. Dak looked really good. As the game went on, he looked really comfortable, and that Dallas defense is improved.
I think so too.
Yes.
I think
they did lose DeMarcus Lawrence, though. DeMarcus Lawrence has a broken foot.
I found that out today. DeMarcus Lawrence has a broken foot. He's probably going to miss about a month and a half of the season, which is not ideal.
No.
But to your point, I think yeah. I mean, listen, I think early on you could see Dak was a little rusty, but as per the course. But I think I did think the defense was a little bit better. They got stops when they needed to, you know. But at the end of the game, I mean, how many defenses are going to stop Tom Brady in that you know,
in a 1 minute drill?
No,
It's not possible.
It's difficult to do. But I think Dallas is much improved. But with Dallas, it's always about the week after, right?
Yep.
It's always about the week after. It's always about like, okay, they played well, and whether they won or they lost, and they played well, they always follow it up with a thud. So now going into Sunday against a Charger team who walked, and we'll get to that game next. Who walked into Washington and got a win over the football team? I think that's a really big
tough matchup.
It's a really big challenge for them. Let's go into that. What did you think of the Chargers and the football team game? Chargers came out on top, 20-16, in is it still called FedEx Field? I don't even know if
is it. I'm not even sure. I think it is. So a little nugget from that game. Herbert, I thought looked really good against a really tough defense. Shout out to Roshan Slater.
Oh my God, he was fantastic.
Unbelievable. I don't think Chase Young even had a single pressure that game. It was a dogfight to the end. I mean, unfortunately, Washington lost Fitzpatrick for an undisclosed amount of time, around 8 weeks. And it's the Taylor Heineke show now. But listen, I think it was expected that they lost this game.
Really, you thought so?
I thought so. Yeah.
See, I if I was a betting man, I would have thought. Well, if Fitz was healthy the whole game, I would have thought Washington would have won. I really did.
I think it would have been a little closer. Yeah. I mean, it was close, but I think it would have gone down even more to the wire than it already did. Because maybe it was a little more high scoring. So they go back and forth a little more, but it was definitely a defensive slugfest. And listen, those are the couple nuggets. But Rayshon Slater, man,
I know. Let me give you one more, and then you can give me a couple, and we'll go back and forth.
Gotcha.
I gotta ask. I need a nugget on the Vikings-Bengals game. Bengals win 27-24 in overtime.
Dalvin Cook was down. We watched that together live.
Right.
I thought he was down. I think that if a ass cheek is down, isn't that the rule? Like, you're down?
Yes. From what I understand, as long as any body part that's not the hand or the foot that is down is considered down by contact.
Okay, but the problem was that there was not enough evidence to show from all the angles that they saw on the Surface tablet, it looked like, to show that he was down. Right. The one thing I will say about this Vikings team, I think that the offensive line is still not as much improved as we thought. I think that an issue going forward is going to be the mobility of Kirk Cousins. And
I agree. There were times where he just didn't get rid of the football.
No, he just didn't get rid of the football. And the problem is that, man, when you look at the stat sheet and you're like, he threw for 320 yards. He had 100 and something passer rating. He threw for 2 touchdowns. I get that. And that's what he does. The problem with him does not show up in the stat sheet. The problem with him is that he's a statue in the pocket who essentially does not move. And when the pocket closes and it collapses, it collapses. This team would be much better off with a mobile quarterback considering the pieces they have around them. So that's my one takeaway. I think the defense was caught sleeping at times. I think Patrick Peterson got murdered on some routes.
Yeah, you saw that clip about what Jamar Chase did to him?
Yeah, that wasn't just like a slight beat. That was like he was lost. So he sent them to the shadow realm. That's my little nugget on that. And I mean, as far as the Bengals go, Burrow, looked a little rusty. They got through it. Mixon, your boy, looked good. And Jamar Chase, man, I guess he can catch the football.
Yeah. I'll hit a couple here. Let me hit the let me go first with the Broncos Giants game here in our own backyard. Broncos win 27-13 over the Giants in MetLife Stadium. Couple things. Denver's defense looked well. Let me preface. Denver's rush defense looked insane. Von Miller looks like he's 100% back. Little nugget. They did that without Bradley Chubb.
Yeah,
so,
Bradley Chubb was inactive.
That was interesting. Another thing for the Giants, the offensive line is not better. And yes, the stats and the metrics are better. I did see a couple of tweets about that. But if you watch that game, the offensive line was not good. Saquon Barkley's not 100%.
Clearly not, and that's a problem.
He's not 100%, which I think is an indictment on the training staff, personally. And Daniel Jones is still making the same mistakes. I mean, I was watching that game with a friend on Sunday, and we watched the Jaguar game together and we watched the Giant game, and he said, Daniel Jones is making the same mistakes that I just watched Trevor Lawrence make. And he said the difference is that Trevor Lawrence was his first game in the NFL. Daniel Jones is a third-year pro. And I think that's the main difference is Daniel Jones is still making rookie mistakes in year 3. And I know it's only 1 week, but they're coming up tomorrow night, and they're facing a Washington team who's got an arguably better defense than Denver.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect, but really impressed with Teddy Bridgewater. Really sucks that Jerry Jeudy got hurt. He's going to be out for the next couple of months. But I think Denver's I know it's 1 week, and we'll see what happens in week 2 against Jacksonville, but early returns are good for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, we like Denver going into the season. So
let me go to Green Bay and New Orleans, where a complete shocker, 38-3 New Orleans. First, obviously, everyone keeps talking about it. I'm gonna add fuel to the fire a little bit. Aaron Rodgers just looked completely disinterested in that game on Sunday, and I'm not saying that he's going to do that all year, but I think he doesn't give a shit about whether they win or lose.
And you know what, Joe? Not to cut you off, I just want to say something. You know what? You know where I started to where I agree with you on that, and where like it opened my eyes to it just doesn't seem like he gives a shit. When he threw that ball deep right to the Saints.
I know. He never does that.
He never does that. It was so uncharacteristic of him to just kind of like, fuck it, chuck it up. Like, he never does that.
But it's not, what it is, too? It's like, when he said that he felt like he had nothing left to prove, and that's why he contemplated retirement. If you feel you have nothing left to prove, then what are you playing for?
Exactly.
What are you playing for? Besides, like, the money.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
He just didn't. He seemed so out of it.
He did seem so out of it. So we'll see how that carries over. They play Monday night against the Lions. For the Saints, I mean, business as usual for the Saints. Like new quarterback, same results. Jameis Winston threw for 148 yards, and 5 of those went for 5 of his 14 or 15 completions went for touchdowns. He had an immaculate game. The deep ball was great. They ran the ball effectively, but I felt like they were definitely more of a threat in the passing game. And, Deontay Harris had a nice game, and Marquez Callaway, we thought was going to get shut out by Alexander. He did.
Juwan Johnson.
Johnson came out of nowhere, made a couple of nice plays, but I think, like I said, week 1, I'm not trying to overreact, but very nice game by the Saints.
LASIK Wilson, man.
And I'll cover one more before we go back to you.
All right.
I'm gonna just take 60 seconds, and I'm gonna talk about what happened on Sunday in Houston, as the Texans manhandled the Jaguars 37-21, and folks, it wasn't even that close. I'm not gonna get on Trevor Lawrence because it's his first NFL game. He threw for 300 yards and he threw for 3 touchdowns. He also threw 3 picks, 2 of them which are correctable, and the third one which I don't know what the hell he was doing, but. 2 of those were definitely correctable mistakes. And I think there were some definite I had to take a sip of water here. There were some definite learning curves there. I think he was nervous for sure.
Of course.
What I can't understand, and this is nothing against the Houston Texans organization. They came out ready to play. They had a sound game plan, and they executed it well. Totally great. Good job by them. To be as unprepared as you were for that game after practicing for 2 months, to have a 12 men in the huddle penalty, to have 4 holding penalties in the first half, to have about what seemed like 30,000 illegal formation penalties in the first half of that game is inexcusable. I'm sorry. Can't happen. Getting beat on deep balls the same way they got beat on deep balls in the damn preseason game. I mean, Christ, I know we're supposed to be bad, but good Lord. One game, and you have Jaguar fans wanting to jump off of the bridge in Duval County. It's all it took was one game. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people. One game is one game, regardless if the Packers just lost 38-3. We just spoke about it, so anything could happen. Okay, but it's the unforced errors, and it's the self mistakes that drive me nuts, John.
Yeah.
It's the self. You know what, too?
The play calling was rough.
The play calling was horrific. And I liked what they did in the past game, per se. I liked the play calls. But when you run the ball 5 times with James Robinson and Carlos Hyde gets more carries than James Robinson, what are we doing? Why?
I know.
Why? God, I hope they beat Denver Sunday, but I feel like it's not going to happen.
Can I ask you one question in regards to the Jaguars, quick?
Talk to me.
Do you think Urban Meyer's taking that USC job?
Stop. John, come on, man. Oh, God. The people that think this guy's the people that think this dude's going to jump ship after one game. I mean, are you dumb?
You know what's funny, though?
Are you dumb?
I know. I want to say one thing before we move on from them. I think that the media wants nothing but this guy to fail.
They definitely want him to fail because he is a guy that comes off as an asshole.
Yeah, body language is bad.
He comes off as an asshole, and people want him to fail. You know what it is? When people have a lot of success, I mean, think about it in the sense of the New York Yankees, right? People love when the Yankees fail. Why? Because they win so much. So they want him. They want to take him off this pedestal that he apparently is on. They want to bring him down to earth a little bit. That's why people hate Alabama. That's why That's why people hate the Patriots.
He brought himself down to earth. He went to a team that was 1-15.
Yeah, and I think they're going to struggle this year, but whatever. All right, let me cut back to you. Let's go to your favorite new quarterback. Dolphins 17, Patriots 16. What's your thoughts there?
I think that if Damian Harris doesn't fumble the ball with 3 minutes left, the Patriots win that game. I thought Mac Jones looked unbelievable, and I think Tua left little to be desired. I feel like the scouting report on him is what it is. You don't see that first read, he's chucking it up for grabs.
Do you think that he can improve?
Tua?
Yes.
No.
You think he is what he is?
I think he is what he is. I think that he showed more mobility now. And listen, I was in on Tua in the preseason. I was in on Tua preseason. Yeah. And I saw him in the preseason. I was so out on him, but he was a little more mobile, obviously. I mean, granted, you got to remember last year he was coming off a hip surgery. I think that this year he looked more mobile, but he definitely is a little... It makes sense why they were in on Deshaun Watson. You know? Okay. But Mac Jones, man, look great.
Let's go to Detroit, where the Niners took out the Lions 41-33 in what was almost an amazing Lions comeback.
That game should not have been that close.
No, it should not have been
that close. And honestly, give credit where credit's due to Detroit, man. That game was supposed to be an absolute...
They broke some kneecaps.
They were eating kneecaps at one point. That should have been an absolute blowout, and it wasn't. And the fact that the 49ers let them get back into that game. And Goff, you know what? Not for nothing, man. I'm going to say it. Goff looked pretty decent. And that twin-headed running attack that they have ain't bad, but they have no receivers. So
Can I get one comment on Brandon Ayuk?
No. Because I'm tired of talking about Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to fist fight Kyle Shanahan, I swear to God. I started my lineup over Jamar Chase in one league, and I lost by almost just the exact amount of points that Jamar Chase would have given me. So thank you so much, Kyle Shanahan. I really appreciate you.
Let's go on to Carolina, where the Jets lost to the Panthers 19-14. Give me a little bit there.
Not impressed by Zach Wilson at all, but I don't think the play calling really suited him. Tough loss on Mekhi Becton. Tough loss. No run game. Tevin Coleman looked like trash. They didn't get Michael Carter involved. Corey Davis had a hell of a day.
Yes, he did.
Thank you. I like me some Corey Davis. But
I'm going to slightly disagree with you on Zach Wilson. I think he had a pretty decent day considering what the hand that he was dealt.
Yeah, he was dealt a tough hand, but in that first half, you definitely saw a little bit of he was a little shaky.
Yeah, I mean, he had to get used to the game. Maybe he was a little nervous.
Sam Darnold, man. Sam Darnold actually looked pretty good, and that Panthers team actually looked solid.
Well, we'll see how they...
We'll see, yeah. It's one, and they're going against the Jets. It's one game. Yeah. They were expected to win that one.
I'm going to take one. I'm going to go to Tennessee, where the Cardinals absolutely demolished the Titans, much to my delight, 38-13. Kyler Murray looked more comfortable in this game than I think he's ever looked in 2 seasons in the NFL.
Yeah.
Did you see that play where he was just running and then just ran out of a sack and then just threw like a 20-yard pass down the field?
That was the best I saw him play.
He just looked so good. Chandler Jones looked like a man possessed.
5 sacks.
And not for nothing. You know, can I tell you what the most amazing thing about that game? Derrick Henry did nothing against that Cardinal running defense.
0.
Nothing. And
see when he got stuffed like 3 times at the goal line? When does that ever happen?
I think, I think it's the first game for the Titans without Arthur Smith calling the shots. And I think you saw a little bit of that there. Also, Julio got ripped by his new head coach for the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Had a couple of drops, only had 3 catches for 29 yards. So was not impressed by the Titans at all. They have a tough matchup next week, too, against the Seahawks. It doesn't get any easier for Tennessee.
No.
I am going to then go to Atlanta, where the Eagles absolutely dominated the Falcons 32-6. My only takeaway from that game is the Falcons, we are what we thought they were. They are an awful football team. I don't think that was anything that was too surprising. But they are pretty bad. They may be the worst. I had them as being the worst team in the league this year when we did our predictions last week. I stand by that right now. I think they're going to be pretty awful. And Jalen Hurts played well. I mean, I think that this game was more about Atlanta than it was about Philly. I want to see Philly do it against a good team first.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the last game, and before we pass over to you, Steelers-Bills. Steelers walk into Buffalo and win 23-16. Josh Allen did not look great. We talked about last week about how that Steeler defense was excellent against the pass last year, and they lived up to the billing there, I think. And the Steelers won in all 3 phases. They won on defense. They won on special teams when they got that blocked punt returned back for a touchdown. And they won on offense. When Ben needed to make a play, he did. The only thing I would like to see, and Najee Harris played 100% of the snaps on offense, but he didn't do that much. So I'd like to see him get a little bit more involved in the pass game in week 2. As for the Bills, listen, I think they got a little. It was a little bit of a trap game for them. I think they were. Listen, the Bills still a very good football team. I think they're going to come back. I think they're going to walk all over Miami in week 2. But the
one thing that worries me about the Bills, Joe, not to cut you off.
No, talk to me.
The run game is just non-existent.
Well, yeah, it's not. And it has been the way it's been that way for a couple of years now. Their best rusher is Josh Allen. So when you play a team that defends well against the running quarterback like Pittsburgh does, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
And I think they're going to until they get a running attack or a running back that could do something. I like Devin Singletary, but he's not a 3-down back. He's a complimentary back, I think, at best. So that's that. Got a couple more here. We actually have 3 more. So I'll give you 2, and I'll take. Actually, we only have 2 more. So I'll give you 1, and I'll take the last one. I'll give you Seattle going into Indianapolis and winning 28-16. What are your thoughts there?
I think you said it best when you put it on the Twitter, which, by the way, shout out if you guys want to check out the Twitter. We are doing play-by-play of most of the games.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot. The Twitter is popping right now, so you might want to go to that at PSP Pod. All right, so I think you said it best. I think Russ cooked. He did Russ things. The team looked great. They were firing on all cylinders, and Carson Wentz and that offensive line suddenly not what we thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they looking at the numbers, I think Carson had a decent game himself, but it's just, a lot of dink and dunk. I didn't watch the game that much, but from what I could see, they didn't take a lot of shots down the field.
They have trouble in that secondary too, man. On
And
defense.
Russell Wilson, I was just about to say that secondary did not look good for Indianapolis. I think they talk. Russ went deep a lot, and you know who they got coming into their building next week? The LA Rams, who we're gonna get to now, as the LA Rams on Sunday Night Football in the first game in SoFi with fans defeated the Chicago Bears 34-14. Everybody wanted fireworks, and we got fireworks. And Matthew Stafford was electric.
Oh,
he was amazing. He threw the deep ball with accuracy. They ran the ball when they needed to towards the end of the game. Their defense. One thing I'm going to say about the Rams, their defense. Do you notice how many of those defenders fly to the ball to make a tackle?
I was just going to tell you, Joe.
It is incredible.
You know
incredible.
You know what I like most about the defense now? So they said it on the broadcast, and I actually wanted to point this out. I wanted to highlight this. So one of the big things that they changed on defense is that Ramsey is almost like a floater now.
Yeah.
He's not as much in man coverage. So what he told the coaching staff was that he wanted to float around. He wanted to be basically like a ball hawk because he was getting bored, nobody throwing his way. He's not as engaged on defense. Now they move him around. They put him everywhere. And how many plays did he make?
He was like it felt like he was at every tackle that was on the line of scrimmage.
He was unreal.
He was excellent. There's a reason he's the best corner in football. There's a reason.
He's an absolute beast. And listen, Stafford, man, that was the best I've seen Stafford. I can't even tell you how long.
Yeah, he looked great. And the one shining star for the Bears, I think, was David Montgomery. He looked fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Looked really, really good. Picked up where he left off last year. Andy Dalton didn't play bad, but I think that offense is what it is. With him at the quarterback position, that is what you're going to get out of the Chicago Bears offense every week. Allen Robinson is limited. David Montgomery is the only, he's the only must start every week on that offense.
Until Fields is the quarterback.
Until Fields comes in. And that includes Allen Robinson. What was our rapid reaction for week 1. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to dive deep into the two, what in our opinion was the two most exciting games of the weekend, and that was the Browns and the Chiefs, and then the Ravens and the Raiders. So stick with us, and we will be right back on PSP.
Hey y'all, Spencer Blinn, the producer for Perfect Spiral Podcast, and you're listening to my band Hollow Choir's new song, What You Want. Available now on Spotify. What you want?
All right, guys, we're back here, and we are going to dive into the two games we didn't get to rapid react about. John, let's do the early game first, because I think we're going to talk about the later game a little bit more.
Okay.
The Browns and the Chiefs, and the Browns walked into Arrowhead. They lost 33-29, but they got out to a 2-touchdown lead, I believe, early. And then a couple of mistakes, a couple of this and that, and the Chiefs kind of got back in it. And I felt like if the Browns play sound football in that game, they kind of win that game. But I know you watched the game more than I did that game, so I'm curious to see what your thoughts were on that game. First, if you could give me what your thoughts were with the Browns on that game.
So, what I like about the Browns, Joe, is that this is a good football team. This is a very good football team. And, we're talking about a team, listen, there's no moral victories in the NFL. There's no, you lost, but you really won. At the end of the day, listen, they went into Arrowhead, like you said, and they got off to a hot start. They played their game. They ran the football. They ran their play action. They knew what they were good at. Some of those holes, and by the way, they were the best rated offensive line week 1.
And them and the Packers were the top 2 offensive lines last year, rated by PFF. And after Green Bay lost Corey Linsley, that solidified Cleveland as the best offensive line in football. But go ahead, continue.
And David Bakhtiari. So
right. He was hurt too.
So when you look at Cleveland, right, there was some gaping holes. Like
Could run a truck through those holes.
Yeah, like me and you could have ran through that hole arm in arm and gained about 10 yards.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Chubb was hitting those holes, but here's the problem. And this is where my issue is with Cleveland. When they play sound football, they're hard to beat. Especially on the road. I mean, granted, listen, they had Kansas City on the ropes now twice. We're talking, going to the AFC Championship game. We're talking now, first game of the regular season. It was a game everybody wants to see. It's hard to play on Arrowhead, and you have them against the ropes. Like you said, they did not play at times. There was 2 plays in particular that got the Chiefs back in it. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you can't give them the ball for 2 minutes. Like, it was like 3 minutes and 27 seconds, and they scored like 14 points.
No.
It's scary. I'm saying it safely. It's the equivalent of the Golden State Warriors. You give the Golden State Warriors the ball, you make mistakes, and they start hitting threes, it's over for you. It's over for you. We're talking about like prime Golden State Warriors.
Right.
You get Patrick Mahomes a football it doesn't even matter if it's a minute and 50 seconds. It's over for you. That punt, that was that terrible punt, that terrible snap.
Right, the botched punt.
Yeah, the botched punt, there was that. And then I just have to talk about it. That Baker Mayfield play.
The last play?
The last play. I don't know if he was trying to get rid of the football or he was actually trying to make a pass. But at that point, honestly, just take the sack. You're throwing the ball, going to the ground, to a guy who's double covered. You didn't put enough arm on the ball to throw it out of bounds if that's what you were trying to do. So, like, making mental errors like that is going to kill this team. On a team that is actually, and I'll go ahead and say it, they are a Super Bowl contender.
They are 100. That was the one takeaway I got. They are 100% a Super Bowl contender.
They are one of the top 4 or 5 best teams in the league. So you can't make mental errors like that and expect to win, especially when you're playing against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, who is time and time again, no matter the situation, can capitalize off of a team's errors to get back into the game and win the game because they have the greatest quarterback they have the best quarterback in the league right now. And he is just
Talent-wise, yes.
Talent-wise, he is dominant. And that's that.
I'm going to just, a couple of good things I like to see with the Browns. When it comes to the passing game, outside of that play by Baker Mayfield, he played pretty well. Take away that play, he goes 21 of 27 for 321 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, you would like to see him throw a passing touchdown in that game, but I did like the fact that he spread the ball pretty well. No Brown had more than 5 catches, but he had 5 to Landry, who led the team. He had 3 to Njoku. He had 3 to Anthony Schwartz. He had 3 to Kareem Hunt. He had 3 to Austin Hooper. 2 went to Nick Chubb. So he definitely spread the ball around. And you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different Browns caught a pass on Sunday. So I think that was important. They only ran the ball to Chubb and Hunt 21 times during that game. I know they threw the ball 28 times and they ran the ball 21 times. They're a team that I would like them to see the ball. I would like to see them run the ball more. I would like to see more of a 50-50 split between them because Chubb ran the ball for 15 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's a 5.5 point clip per run. Same thing with Hunt. Hunt ran the ball 6 times for 33 yards at a 5.5 yards per carry clip. They, like you said before, they had gaping holes for their rushing attack. They had the ball late. I'm not sure if they had any timeouts, but I would have been okay with them. I know, like when you're doing a 2-minute drill, you can really only pass the ball, but I would have been okay with them running the ball a couple of times, like out of the shotgun, like a draw or something. I would have been cool with that because what you're doing is you're keeping the defense off balance and you're doing what you do best. Yes, you need a touchdown. Absolutely. 100% you need a touchdown. But, I think, maybe just to at least move the chains a little bit and kind of they know what's coming. So you throw them off at a run. Maybe. I'm not saying crazy.
I think they definitely got away from the game script a little bit late.
Well, yeah, I think they felt the pressure a little bit.
Yeah, they felt the pressure a little bit. And then I think that's a little bit of an issue for Baker is when there's stuff that's unscheduled. You know, I think that he's great on play action. He's great moving around outside the pocket. But I think when the game script starts to get away from him, I think that there's a little bit of a struggle there. They could have ran the ball more. I agree with you. And I think they should. I think they should run the ball 25, 30, 35 times a game because that's what you're good at. So that's my takeaway from the Browns. I think that they are 100% a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they got to the quarterback a couple of times. On Sunday, Myles Garrett got to the quarterback once he got a sack. They didn't have any interceptions, obviously, because Mahomes doesn't throw interceptions in September for whatever reason.
Yeah, his September stats are just bananas.
It's insane. But listen, they played played decently well against. And here's the thing. When you're you know what my biggest gripe is with this game and for the Browns, right? Because I think we're past the point of saying, the Browns played well, right? But they lost. They played well. No, you want to be the best, you got to win these types of games. I don't care if it's week 1, I don't care if it's week 8, I don't care if it's week 17. You got to win these games, right? And so far they're 0 for 2 against the Chiefs, and there's a very high chance they'll play them again in the playoffs. When you play the Chiefs, right, and there's a select amount of teams like this, right? I feel like the Bucs are this team, and I feel like, over the course of the year, the Rams are going to become a team like this, and maybe even like the Cowboys. I don't know, but I'm just saying, when you play those guys, you want to keep those offenses off the field, right? And you want to control the clock. The Chiefs had a higher time of possession than the Browns did. The Chiefs held the ball for 32 minutes and 47 seconds. The Browns held the ball for 27 minutes and 13 seconds.
And the Browns are the better run team too.
That can't happen if you're playing the Chiefs. Cannot happen. You have to find a way to hold on to the ball longer if you want to be. You flip that, and I guarantee you they beat Kansas City. They outgained them. They obviously beat them in rushing yards. They outran them by 80 yards. They had more first downs. But the difference was they had 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
But crazy. They ran less plays than the Chiefs. That's insanity. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a minute. I'll let you start. What do you want to say about Kansas City?
I mean, it is what it is with them. It is what it is with them. Patrick Mahomes is going to do what he wants. The one concern I have from this team is that there's still no run game. I feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is kind of lost.
I'm glad you brought him up.
I think he's just lost.
I think he's not good. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's good.
I don't know what to make of him.
He ran the ball 14 times for 43 yards for an average of 3.1 yards a carry. It's not going to cut it.
No.
It's not going to cut it.
And he's a non-factor in the passing game.
I'm glad you mentioned that, too. He caught the ball 3 times for 29 yards. For a guy, folks, who was drafted in the first round and who was heralded as who was going to be the next...
Brian Westbrook.
Yeah.
That's what
who was going to
thought.
be a dual threat running back, and he was going to be a guy who could run for 100 yards, and the next Christian McCaffrey, if I may say so myself. He's been anything but.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's not involved in the offense. It's not like he's somebody that they actively look to pass the ball to or give the ball to. There's an argument to be made that, they want the ball in the hands more of Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson than they want the ball in Clyde Edwards-Helaire's hands. And to me, that's a problem, especially for a first-round draft pick.
It is a problem.
I'm not saying the Chiefs won, right? And why'd they win? They won because of Patrick Mahomes, and they won because of Tyreek Hill, and they won because...
That absurd pass.
Which shouldn't get completed. The pass should not have been completed.
No.
That was a duck that could have gotten picked off. But, so the course. Mahomes completes the pass, whatever, they score, right? But the Helaire thing is driving me nuts.
It's driving me nuts too, Joe.
It's driving me crazy because it's not like... I don't know. I just don't think he's good.
It's like they give him his carries and they're like, all right, we can forget about you now. It's just like he's not even a part of the offense.
It's like filling a quota.
Exactly. It's like, all right, you want your 15 carries, your 15 carries. All right, there he is. Okay, we're not even going to think about him, look at him, throw to him, run with him. We're not going to do anything with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
And listen, there was always this notion that Andy Reid doesn't like to run the football, right? And everyone thought that was going to change when he got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Andy Reid doesn't like to run the football. And why would you when you have this guy playing quarterback?
But here's the thing, though. When Kareem Hunt was there, Kareem Hunt was the leading rusher in the league.
Kareem Hunt is much better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I know, but the thing is, though, it's like
there's certain guys that you make exceptions for.
Yeah.
You know, you don't at this point you're not making an exception for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Another thing, and this goes back to the Browns a little bit. What I don't understand about these teams is there are certain guys in the league you need to know at all times where they are, right?
Yeah.
How do you not know, especially in the red zone, where Travis Kelce is at all times? That touchdown where they took the lead, Kelce was wide open, inside the 10. What are we doing? How is there not someone draped over him? Let someone else beat you. Let Byron Pringle beat you. Let Clyde Edwards-Helaire beat you. Don't let Travis Kelce beat you.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Tell me why he's wide open.
I have no idea. And you know what's funny? I'm glad you brought that up. They drafted a player that is fully capable of covering him.
Joke.
Yes. Owusu Karamoah is fully capable of covering Travis Kelce. I'm sure they brought him in for one of these main reasons because he can cover tight ends, he can cover wide receivers, and he can play linebacker. He's all over the field. He's just a specialist. Like, put him on Kelce. You're right. I don't know why, and nobody can figure out where Travis Kelce is. You just forget. You just don't know.
That play, he ran a simple curl route, and there was nobody on him.
Yeah.
Like, there was not 3 feet. Nobody was there. When he turned around, he had room to run. To me, that's inexcusable.
I agree.
It's inexcusable. It's crazy. And in the red zone, you know why he's the top threat in the red zone? Because Tyreek Hill doesn't have that much room to run. If he's not running horizontally in that space, he's not taking a jet sweep, he's nowhere near as much of a threat as Travis Kelce is.
And he's not mossing anybody in the red zone.
Right, he's not big enough. So I just don't understand.
I know. I get it too.
The good things about the Chiefs, right? Let's talk about some of the good things, because they did win the football game, right? They made plays when they needed to, right? Great teams make plays when they needed to. And they had a little bit of luck. The botch punt was definitely a little bit of luck, right? You know?
Tyreek Hill throw was a little bit of luck.
But I will say this. At the end of the game, when the Browns had the ball back and they were driving, that pass, Chris Jones took over the game in that second half for Kansas City. He was a man that could not be stopped, and he was in Baker's face on that last play when he made that piss-poor throw.
Yep.
There are certain guys on great teams that need to step up. And for now 2 years now, Chris Jones has been that guy for the Chiefs in the defensive line. And again, they won without Tyrann Mathieu in the lineup on Sunday.
Yeah, he was illness scratch.
So he did not play Sunday.
Offensive line looked a lot better.
Offensive line looked a lot better. Orlando Brown struggled a little bit, I think, on the left side of that line. But you listen, when you have Patrick Mahomes and you have Tyreek Hill, I mean, this line from Tyreek Hill is 11 catches on 15 targets for 197 yards and a touchdown.
It's bananas.
And Denzel Ward was covering him.
It's up on Denzel Ward.
No, Denzel Ward's good. Stop it. Come on.
He got killed last year, too.
Come on, he's good. Don't do that. He's good. Maybe he's not top 5. He's top 10.
I think he's a far cry from what we saw in his rookie year, but go ahead.
Okay.
A couple injuries, it sets you back. That's what it is.
The Browns next week go to their home. I apologize. They're home for Houston.
Yeah.
So they should win their first game of the year next week. The Chiefs play
Baltimore.
The Ravens on Sunday Night Football. And that is a phenomenal segue into us covering the second game of the week. And by far the best game of the weekend, which was Monday night. And that was the Raiders opening up Allegiant Stadium and defeating the Ravens 33 to 27 in overtime. John, I cannot remember a more bizarre ending to the game that I saw on Monday night.
I was glued to the television. I couldn't turn it off. I'm sitting up in bed and I'm just going, what is happening? You actually sent me a text with my full name, which never happens. And I was like, you were like, John McCarthy. I'm like, Joseph, what is happening?
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I really couldn't.
Are the Ravens the first team in the NFL history to lose twice in one game?
So I want to talk about the Ravens first in this game because I watched this game from start to finish.
Yeah, you did. I caught it at the end.
We talked about in the offseason about we did not know what the Ravens were. We didn't know if they got better or if they got worse or if they kept the status quo. And then over the course of the preseason, they lose J.K. Dobbins. Then they lose Gus Edwards. Then they lose Justice Hill. And then they lose Rashad Bateman. So injuries haven't been kind to them. Marcus Peters. Injuries have not been kind to them. But for all intents and purposes, they're a better football team, I think, than the Raiders, even though they lost this game. I'm going to tell you something right now. Their offensive line was horrific on Monday night. And specifically their pass protection. They ran the ball effectively, because they always do. And Tyson Williams was very good. But I don't trust their offensive line. And Lamar Jackson had a couple of nice passes in that game. The one he threw over the middle to Hollywood Brown was a very nice pass. The one he found on the run to Hollywood Brown in the end zone was a very nice pass. But there were way too many inaccurate passes for me in that game. Way too many. He changed his arm angle on a couple of those throws. Like he tried the sidearm on a couple of those, and it just didn't work. I'm not buying it, John. I'm not buying it. There's something from this team that is missing, and I don't know what it is. I cannot put my finger on it.
I can't either.
But I watched that game, and they got out to an early lead, got out to a 14-0 lead, right? And Tyson Williams ran the ball great. Then for some reason or another, John Harbaugh stopped using him in the second half. I don't know why.
And he goes to Latavius Murray, who couldn't find a single hole.
He had a couple of nice runs, but he scored the touchdown. But I don't know why he went away from Tyson Williams for the whole half. You want to give him a breather, sure, but it seems like they don't have any other receiving options outside of Hollywood Brown. I mean, the Raiders made a conscious effort to make sure that Mark Andrews wasn't a threat, right? And that's another thing. Mark Andrews was wide open on a seam route in that game, and Lamar missed him. He missed him. It was a walking touchdown, and he missed him. And those are the throws that you have to make. And Lamar had one nice run in that game, about a 30-yard run. But he fumbled the ball twice. What's that about? Lamar never fumbles the ball. Well, he did twice on Monday, and one of those fumbles lost him the game. Because he's looking to run before he could look to pass. I don't not like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a very good quarterback. But there is something missing from this team. I don't know what it is. Getting to the defensive side of the ball. They were not great.
Not at all.
They were not great. I didn't like what they did in the red zone. They were not good in the red zone. Their secondary wasn't great. Marlon Humphrey had a nice game, but Marlon Humphrey's awesome. The rest of the secondary did not have a good game. Their linebackers didn't have a good game. Their run defense had a nice game. But
Patrick Queen
had a much better game than he had all of last season.
Yeah, there was definitely improvement with Patrick Queen.
But, John, they had ample opportunities to win this game. Another thing, and the things are coming back to me now. You're up 14-7, okay, at the end of the first half, right? And I think I went off about this on the Twitter account. You had an opportunity, right? Now, you have Justin Tucker, who is the most accurate kicker in NFL history, okay? Not active, history. The most accurate kicker ever. And you have a 4th and 1. It's about a 52, 53-yard field goal. Closing minutes of the first half, John. It's 14-7.
Mm-hmm.
And you choose to go for it on 4th and 1 instead of kick the field goal, where you could have went up by 2 scores and go up 17-7. They choose to go for it. They don't get it. Then the Raiders get the ball back, and they hit a field goal as time expires to go into the half and make it 14-10. Completely different ball game. And it ended up costing them.
It did.
It really ended up costing them, because if they go for that field goal and they make it, because Tucker makes everything he kicks, it's 17-7, and oh my God, the Raiders are down 10, and holy shit, it's not an overtime game at the end of the. It's not. It doesn't become an overtime game.
Now, can I just add some things to what
Yeah,
you're saying?
I want, because I know you have a lot to say about the Ravens too. So those are my gripes about Baltimore. What do you think about them?
Well, while it's fresh in my mind in regards to the Justin Tucker kick, the problem is that the Ravens are notoriously known for being a very analytical team. They have a whole analytics department. John Harbaugh loves analytics for some reason, and I feel like in sports, analytics does nothing but get you in trouble, especially when you think that going for it on 4th and 1 is better than kicking an automatic 3 points. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, in regards to Lamar Jackson, I want to say a few things.
Before you do that, he was 19 of 30 for 235 yards and 1 touchdown, and he took 3 sacks. 19 of 30 is a 63% completion rate, which isn't awful, but
It's not bad.
You're hovering. You're near the 60% completion rate, which is not great in today's NFL.
Yeah. So there's one thing I noticed about him in this game that I didn't notice.
Lost 3
as
fumbles
much.
in this game too.
Yeah, the fumbling was crazy. But did you notice that he held onto the ball in the
Yes.
pocket for an obscenely long amount of time?
I think he was trying too hard at certain points.
Yeah, like it's like he's standing in the pocket. And we're talking about the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, probably. He's just kind of standing there, and like the pocket's closing around him, and it's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna take the sack. I agree with you in the sense of like, I don't know what is wrong with this team. I don't know what it's missing. I don't know if Lamar is the guy. I don't know. And what's crazy too is that he's negotiating a possibly record-breaking contract by himself in the middle of the season while also trying to win football games. That's weird to me. He doesn't have an agent. And I just don't know what it is. I mean, Hollywood looked good.
He did look good. Nice job with the sleeper pick.
Yeah, very good. I mean, I like them this week. Sammy Watkins at times looked pretty decent.
He had 4 for 96, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, he
most
looked
of that
okay.
came on a 50-yard pass.
Yeah, that one huge pass. But man, there is something off about this team that I just can't wrap my
I know, it's
finger
weird,
around.
right? It's weird.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what? I don't like what I'm seeing from Lamar. I don't like this whole he doesn't want to run. I feel like it's in his head too much. I feel like he's in his head where it's just like, I'm not a running back, I'm a quarterback. I'm not a running back, I'm a quarterback. I'm not a running back, I'm a quarterback. Where it's like he forces himself to stay in the pocket too long. He's forcing throws that he knows he's not going to make. When like, all right, dude, if you want to just take off, just run.
And people are going to say too, oh, Joe, well, he ran the ball 12 times for 86 yards. He ran the ball sometimes because he had to, because his pocket collapsed. He wasn't looking to run. Some of those times.
And some of those runs were electric.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. You're in the red zone, and instead of just like taking off when you know you could score, you're forcing a ball into double coverage. Like it's just these weird things where it's like, this doesn't make sense.
Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. I don't like the fact that people within maybe the Ravens organization or fans or people like us try to tell Lamar Jackson what type of quarterback he should be. I don't like that. My man is a running first quarterback. Like if you were playing Madden, you get to pick the type of quarterback you want to be. He's a scrambler. That's what he is. He's a scrambling quarterback. Why is he not running the ball 20 times a game?
Why are they running more read option?
Fucking great question.
Why aren't they running more quarterback draw?
Maybe they don't want to get him hurt, but at the same time, this is what he is. This is what you signed up for. This is the type of quarterback he is. This is why he was successful in college.
That's why he's an MVP.
When he won the MVP, he ran the ball for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he was absolutely dominant.
Why did we move away from that, John?
That's what I'm saying. There's something going on within that organization, or it's within his head that he feels like he needs to be this pocket quarterback. When, let's be completely honest, Joe. Let's call it what it is. He's not that.
No,
he's not going to sit
accurate.
in the pocket. He's not accurate enough to be that. He's not like, and
Are we ready to say he's Michael Vick?
He is Michael Vick. He's a better Michael Vick. Which, Joe, that's not a bad thing, but at the same time, we can't.
Michael Vick went to the NFC title game.
We can't make it like we can't try to turn Patrick Mahomes into Peyton Manning.
Right.
And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of these coaches and this organization, I feel like, almost wants them to be Peyton Manning. And you know what? I don't want to hear about this whole, we don't want to run because we don't want to get him hurt. All right, then you might as well not even fucking play him. Because that's his whole point. And yeah, he's going to sign a massive extension. He's going to break records because, not for nothing, you pay the man. He deserves it. Because if you don't pay him, somebody's paying Lamar Jackson.
Right.
He's a superstar. But it's just, we need to just let him play his game. And I feel like what ended up happening in this game is that they got away from his game. And it's just, it's the same offensive coordinator. It's still Greg Roman.
He ran the ball 12 times for 86 yards at a 7.2 yards per carry clip.
Gus Bradley, though, on the defensive side of the ball for the Raiders, has had his number, though. He likes to drop 6 into coverage. And he did this again in the Tennessee game, and he did this in the Charger game. He was the defensive coordinator for both. Or he was the head coach for one, and he was the defensive coordinator for the other, and he dropped 6 into coverage. And Lamar struggled with that. So maybe it's just an offshoot. But from what I saw, like you said, I don't like it. I'm not sure. You want to get to the Raiders? Because honestly, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, so let's get to the Raiders. And again, there were things I didn't like and things that I did like about the Raiders, right? I think I liked the fact that Derek Carr just continues to defy the odds. He went 34 of 56 for 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, 3 sacks. We're going to get to the running game in a minute because I think that's important. First thing, though, Darren Waller. 19 targets for Darren Waller. Nobody else on the Raiders had more than 5.
Yeah, he's forcing it.
They were, in the first half, he was forcing the ball to Darren Waller. It's not until he got other receivers involved on the offensive side of the football that he started. But Darren Waller still went 10 for 105 and a touchdown. He's an animal.
Yeah,
he's so good.
You can't cover him. He's too big.
And we're going to go over the end of the game because I want to go through that whole sequence. But the running game. Josh Jacobs had 10 carries for 34 yards, scored twice in the red zone, which was nice. But they only ran the ball 16 times with running backs. And they ran the ball combined 16 times for 45 yards, which is not great. And then it comes out into the game that Josh Jacobs is hurt. He's got, apparently everything is injured. I don't know if you saw that. If you didn't see that on Roto, you got to check that out. It literally says Josh Jacobs limited or did not practice with everything. Like, okay.
That's
everything. Everything's a designation, so that's great. But, I mean, the fears that we had about Josh Jacobs in the preseason are true.
Yeah.
They used Jacobs and Drake at like almost a 50-50 clip. Fantasy-wise, that's not ideal.
No. Drake handled most of the passing downs, probably almost all of them.
Yeah, Drake had 5 catches for 59 yards on 5 targets. Jacobs had 2 targets and 1 catch for 6 yards. So that's a disparity there.
It's rough. Jacobs, when he was running the ball, though, some of those cuts, man. Sheesh.
Yeah, they were great, but then he had to come out of the game. The thing I was most impressed about with Vegas was the defense, specifically the defensive line.
Unreal.
Max Crosby is a budding star in this league, I think.
I agree.
And they were in Lamar's face all night long.
Yannick Ngakoue
Also got hurt.
Oh. And they lost Gerald McCoy, too.
They lost Gerald McCoy. They lost Rondell Good for the season, who's an offensive lineman. So they left that game with injuries. But for all the shit we've given the Raiders over the course of this podcast, they came out and they played very, very well, I think, on Monday night. Defensively, like I said, I liked what I saw from them. I think that the defensive line was great. I think the secondary was actually pretty good considering they don't have a lot of names on there. But, I think that they had some guys. Denzel Perryman made a couple of big plays. Jonathan Abram had a pass deflection in that game. Max Crosby had two sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 6 tackles in general. Trevon Moehrig had 5 tackles in that game, rookie out of TCU. Carl Nassib late in the overtime had the forced fumble that led to the game-winning touchdown. So they got a really nice collection. And Casey Hayward, who was a cornerback on the Chargers, then Denver, came into this Vegas team, and he actually played really well yesterday. He's not far removed from a top 10 corner in this league. Casey Hayward had a nice game. So I think the Raiders did a pretty nice job on Monday night and taking care of business. Anything you would like to add?
Do you want to talk about some negatives on the Raiders?
Talk to me. Yeah, talk to me about some negatives.
Man, Henry Ruggs. He is dreadful to watch. I watched him. He was without a catch for almost the first 3 quarters, and it's not like he wasn't targeted. Like he dropped some balls, and I feel like he's just super limited, and I feel like there's a game for him that they don't use him for. Like he's not. I feel like they want him to be Tyreek Hill, and he's not. I feel like they want him to be this offensive specialist like a Deebo Samuel, and he's not.
He's small. John.
He's so small, and he has trouble catching the ball. He reminds me almost like Darius Hayward-Bay.
I think he had. Oh God, don't say that. That's a blast from the past. God damn.
I mean, but tell me that it's not similar.
The biggest thing I get from him is he doesn't create separation.
No, and it's very weird. And one thing I will say about this receiving core is that it was only a matter of time before they got Bryan Edwards involved. Bryan Edwards should have been more involved last year. I mean, he's had 2 fantastic camps in a row.
But is Bryan Edwards good, or is he just like a guy? That's what I can't figure out.
I think that he's actually decent. I feel like he could catch a contested ball. He does get separation, and he's big. He's a big receiver.
They exclusively went to him in the overtime and to get to the overtime.
Yeah, and he showed up, and I feel like that's a testament to him, So that's a couple of things. I mean, Derek Carr, I feel like for somebody that's gotten shit the last 3 years that he's not the guy, but he continues to be the guy. I feel like he looked really good.
He did fine.
I like Derek Carr.
He's serviceable.
I like him.
Serviceable. Makes the throws. He makes some nice plays when he needs to. I think he says all the right things. I think he loves the franchise. He loves the fans. He's a guy that's ingrained. He's ingrained in the franchise. He loves what he does.
Does he give you some Stafford vibes?
John, I was just going to say he's a poor man's Matthew Stafford.
He gives me Stafford vibes.
I swear to God, I was just going to say that. He's literally Matthew Stafford 2.0.
Yeah,
but not as good.
Not as good, but I feel like in the right situation, he could be he could excel.
Yeah.
He seems like that guy. I mean, we're talking about a guy who almost won an MVP.
I know.
So, I mean, that talking about someone who almost won MVP, that's a big deal. So.
Let's quickly recap how this game ended, because if you missed it, you
could take the reins on this because the game was just drunk.
So
the game was drunk and high at the same time.
So the game went into the third quarter at 14-10. Couple scores here and there. It ended up being 24-24 in the fourth quarter. Ravens got the ball with a couple of minutes left. They drove down the field. Justin Tucker nails a field goal, 27-24. There's literally 48 seconds left in this game. Okay, they marched it down as much as they could. The Raiders had no timeouts. Okay, the Raiders get the ball back on the 25 or 20 yard line. Carr throws The first pass to Bryan Edwards, complete, stops the clock. Next play was a first down. He throws a bullet, and I mean a dart over the middle to Bryan Edwards. And this got them across the 50. He runs up. He spikes it. Then he throws another pass to Bryan Edwards. And this is the ineptitude, I felt like, of the Ravens, right? All you had to do was make a stop. One stop. You stop one of those passes, this game never gets to overtime. They couldn't do it. And Carr went to the same guy on all three plays. Clearly, they were targeting someone. They were targeting somebody on that defense. Don't know who, but they were targeting somebody on that defense. Carlson comes out with 5 seconds left and hits a 55-yard field goal to send it to OT. Awesome stuff. Great 1-minute drive by Derek Carr.
Also, mind you, not to cut you off, the Ravens had a timeout to ice the kicker, and they didn't ice him.
I know. Well, I would have used that timeout to figure out why the hell Bryan Edwards was getting the ball every time.
Regardless, one of the two reasons they didn't use it. So, wasted timeout.
So they go to overtime, and I was going to say Oakland. Vegas gets the ball first, right? And at this point, you're like, wow, okay, they actually might win this game. They get the ball first. They're driving down the field. And then Carr throws the would-be touchdown pass to Bryan Edwards, right? Where he outstretches to the end zone. And it looks like the ref rules him in. Stadium's going crazy. Players come out on the field. They start dapping each other up. They start saying, yo, what's up? Giving hugs, right? Even like John Harbaugh comes out. Gruden never moved from the sideline. I don't know if you noticed that. He never moved from the sideline because they showed the replay, and he was definitely down. There was no debate about it. He was 100% down.
Yeah, he was down.
And, it was like weird, right? Because I felt like the players had no idea what was happening during that process. The players had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're on the field. They're saying what's up to each other. They're catching up on what they're going to have for dinner and all this other crap.
Just having a grand old time.
Right? And then all of a sudden, not even the ref, the loudspeaker. The guy in the loudspeaker is like, hey, after review, the play, he's ruled down by contact to 1. So because there were so many guys in the field, they had to have the guy in the loudspeaker make the announcement because the ref wouldn't have any control. So they finally get back to the sidelines, and the Raiders are now on the 1-inch yard line, John. The 1-inch yard line. And for everyone who's listening, John and I were texting each other back and forth at this point. We're going back and forth.
Yeah, we're going nonstop.
We're going back and forth.
Our group chat in the league is going nonstop.
So, first play, they run the ball at Jacobs, doesn't get in. Okay, fine. Fair, no problem. Second and goal from the 1, right? Now, don't get me wrong. They should have ran the ball on every play, right? They may have had that option to run the ball on every play. Alex Leatherwood, the first-round draft pick out of Alabama, does the most asinine thing you could do and actually false starts.
The most penalized player in college last year.
Actually false starts. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this would happen to the Raiders.
They were going to blow it.
John, they did blow it. They did. Second down, Carr makes the pass incomplete. Now it's third down. You're like, oh my God, they're going to go from scoring it to getting a field goal and giving the Ravens another chance here. And as soon as that even crosses your mind, the third down play goes through the hands of, I think it was Hunter Renfrow. No, I apologize. It was Willie Snead. Goes through the hands of Willie Snead, off of the helmet of a Raven defender and into the arms of another one for an interception. And the look on Carr's face was like, are you kidding? Did this really just happen? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, everyone thought the game was over.
Yeah, I thought it was done.
Everyone thought the game, there's no way they come back from this. Not going to happen. Then, to somehow, some way, Lamar fumbles the ball in Raven territory. On a second down, I think. Carl Nassib made a great play. Lamar fumbles the ball. Raiders get the ball back. And here's the thing. Now the Raiders get the ball back, you're like, holy shit, this game is like you said, bananas.
It's insane.
It's going back and forth. First down, they run a play. Second down, this was bizarre. They were in field goal range. They second down. I would have ran the ball a couple more times to get closer. The special teams unit had no idea that Gruden wanted them out on the field, so they're in a whole different area. They all run out on the field. They don't get there in time, and they get a delay of game penalty. And it's like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, like what? Like this is such a Raiders first game in Allegiant Stadium.
It's
sort of
like
game.
insanity. And then the next play, the Ravens have their whole roster in the box, what it seemed like. So Carr audibles, and they throw a touchdown to Zay Jones because there's nobody behind Marlon
wide
Humphrey.
open. There's nobody up high.
And the game's over. You're like, I'm sitting there. I was dumbfounded. I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
No team should have won that game.
Wild. Absolutely bananas. The Ravens, as we just mentioned, will play the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football in Baltimore, which should be a good game. Ravens are going to try to avoid going 0-2, which would be interesting. And then the Raiders will travel to Pittsburgh, where one of those two teams will be 2-0 after Sunday. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that in-depth segment of those two games. I thought that was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
That was good.
When we come back for our third and final segment, we are going to do our fantasy sleepers and busts with John the Professor, and then our week 2 game picks before we head out of here. So stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, and we're back here for segment number 3. It is fantasy football time here on Perfect Spiral. If you listened to us last week and you listened to our sleepers and busts, you would know that we got 5 of 6 guys correct in week 1. To recap, our sleepers last week were Jalen Hurts, Jamal Williams, and Hollywood Brown, who all had top 10, I believe, fantasy, or maybe even top 5 fantasy outputs for their respective positions. And then our bust, we went 2 of 3. Josh Allen was a bust. Ezekiel Elliott was definitely a bust in week 1. And the one that we did miss on was TJ Hawkinson, who actually had a very nice game for the
He had a
Lions.
solid game.
John, week 2.
Big week.
We got busts and we got sleepers. We're going to switch it up this week, and I'm going to take the sleepers. Okay?
Gotcha.
This one was difficult because I think there's guys that I really, really liked here, and I think there are guys that like you would think that are playing, and you're like, maybe not. I'm going to give you 2 names for quarterback. I'm going to give you one that I think you're going to be like, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to give you one that may not make a lot of sense. Okay?
Okay.
So my first quarterback sleeper of the week is actually a guy who you could probably stream this week. He's most likely not on any rosters, if I had to guess. And that is Taylor Heineke of the Washington football team.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? Going against the Giants tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football in Washington, I believe. Yep, in Washington.
Yeah, it's in Washington.
And just for context, last week the Giants gave up a 79% completion clip against the Denver Broncos. Didn't give up a ton of yards, but they did give up 2 touchdowns. And they gave up 3 plays of 20 yards or more for the against Denver. We already mentioned that their secondary was not very good last week. We mentioned that their offense was not very good, so their defense was on the field a lot. I think Heineke, and listen, John, there was an argument to be made last year that Taylor Heineke was the best option that the football team had at quarterback. And he has a rapport with these guys already. And a lot of these options are returning. Antonio Gibson, obviously, and Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas, and all these guys are returning from last year. I think that Heineke could have a big night against the Giants. I think the Giants are down on themselves a little bit after that week 1 loss to Denver. They really fell flat on their face a little bit. I could see something like a 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception from Heineke on tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. That's what I think you could see.
I can see that too.
That's probably like a 20, 25 point performance in fantasy, give or
bad.
take. Not bad at all. My other guy I'm going to talk about is somebody who you might laugh or you might, say, oh, and this is just a hunch. Okay, this is just a hunch. My other sleeper quarterback is Trevor Lawrence.
That's interesting. Okay.
No one in the world is picking the Jaguars to win on Sunday. No one. I'm not. And I'm a fan. But I will tell you this. The Denver run defense against the Giants was excellent last week. Passing defense was pretty good too, right? They gave up. Daniel Jones went 22 of 37. That's a 59.5% completion rate. But he threw for 267 yards, and he threw for a touchdown, no interceptions, with a long of 42, and 3 20 plays or more. 3 plays of 20 yards or more. I think without Bradley Roby in the secondary for Denver on Sunday, who's now out, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have an opportunity here to go against a rookie corner in Patrick Surtain, the second, right, who had a decent game but not a great game, and now an unknown on the other side of that corner, right, against guys like Marvin Jones, who's a veteran, and DJ Chark. Jacksonville might be behind at some point in this game. Trevor Lawrence may put up big numbers in this game. Not saying it's a guarantee, but I'm saying if you have him on your roster and you don't love the quarterback you're starting, take a chance.
Interesting.
You may be paid off here. Okay?
All right.
You want to go for your quarterback bust?
So I'm going to wait on my quarterback bust. I'm actually going to give you my pass catching bust. I'm going to give you my wide receiver bust. And it's kind of funny coming from what you said just now.
Okay.
My wide receiver bust of the week is DJ Chark. I wish I was kidding, but that's who I decided on. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think that he's a bust.
Okay.
It seems like Bradley Chubb is going to play.
Great. Fantastic.
You've already seen that your offensive line struggles.
Shocking.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be under duress the entire game. And I think that DJ Chark, while he did have 12 targets last week, which was awesome. I have him in fantasy. It's awesome. I just don't feel like they're going to be able to get a lot going. And I know, like you just said, you feel very strongly about Trevor Lawrence this week. But
not strongly. I just feel like there's an opportunity where he could be successful.
There is an opportunity, but I don't think that the opportunities are going to be there for Chark. And if that makes sense.
Well, I know Urban Meyer has said on many occasions this week that they want to get Laviska Shenault more involved in space. They want to run the ball more. So I could definitely see what you're saying. I think he might be the third man on the totem pole this week.
He definitely
when it comes to receivers on that team.
He very well can. I'm going to give you also my running back bust of the week.
Ooh, I like this. Talk to me.
So it's tough. I'm actually between a couple of guys. I'm just going to do it because I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Austin Eckler.
Oh, my God, John.
It pains me. I have him in 2 leagues. But I'm going to tell you why. I think he had a little bit of trouble getting going last week.
It has nothing to do with the defense that he played?
No, but I feel like he did have a little bit of trouble getting going. And I'll say this. Did you notice who is one of the most picked up players in fantasy this week?
Larry Roundtree.
I don't like that. I don't like that your backup running back is suddenly one of the most picked up players in fantasy. And you know what? Like, I'm going to give you real quick. I'm going to give everybody a bonus. I'm going to give everybody a bonus running back bust. Bonus. Elijah Mitchell. Everybody's like putting all this fab money and rushing to waivers to pick him up. Granted, I'm guilty. I put in a claim. I would just avoid the running backs on the 49ers because out of nowhere, like JaMychal Hasty could have like a 130-yard game. I would avoid it. I'm not a fan of Elijah Mitchell this week. Granted, he could be the next James Robinson, as Matthew Berry's been saying. He could be. But I think that offense is just so unpredictable week to week that it's a little tough. So I'm giving you Austin Eckler, I'm giving you DJ Chark, and I'm giving you Elijah Mitchell. And my quarterback bust this week, you want my quarterback bust?
No, we'll wait on that. I'll do that last.
Go ahead.
I'll give you my running back sleeper and my wide receiver sleeper.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
My running back sleeper I went back and forth on. I'm not going to give you 2. I'm going to give you 1. And the guy I'm going to give you, I really wanted to say Latavius Murray.
Oof.
But I'm not going to say Latavius Murray.
All right.
I'm going to go Ronald Jones.
Wow. Yeah, I like that one.
I'm going to go Rojo. The Falcons are a horrific football team. Okay? For context, last week, the Eagles ran the ball 31 times for 173 yards for a clip of 5.58. They had 5 rushes of 10 or more yards. That's absurd. That should not be the case, but it was. And I think that Bruce Arians already came out and said that Ronald Jones is going to be starting this week out of the doghouse. He is much more dynamic than Leonard Fournette. He catches the ball more than Leonard Fournette. I think they're going to split carries, but I think that Rojo will make more of his use of carries this week against Atlanta. I think that they're going to try to establish the run in this game because I think that when if they're running the ball effectively, Brady could use that play action, and I think this is a week where you're going to see Mike Evans have a nice game. And I hate to say that because I'm going against him this week in fantasy, but I feel he's going to have a nice game this week. So I'm going to go Ronald Jones. And then my pass catcher, this was tough because I had four names here. But I'm going to go with one. The 4 names that I had were Tim Patrick, Denver.
Okay.
Tyler Boyd for the Bengals. And Mike Williams for the Chargers. I'm going to avoid those guys because I feel like the Denver offense is kind of jack of all trades,
Yeah.
Russian roulette type of deal.
A little bit.
Mike Williams, you never know what you're going to get, so I don't know what's going on there. And Tyler Boyd, he was a distinct third man in targets on that team in week 1. So I'm going to go with a name who was successful last week, and I feel like maybe able to be successful again because of something I noticed in the game that was played between the opponent he's playing this week, and that is Zach Pascal, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. Okay. Zach Pascal had a 20-point game last week because he had 2 touchdowns, 4 catches for, I think, 45 yards and two scores. Their opponent this week is the LA Rams. Okay? They're playing at home. They're a must-win game. I shouldn't say must-win game. It's not a must-win game. But you never want to start off 0-2. The one thing that the Bears did successfully last week, outside of David Montgomery, was they were able to pass the ball over the middle for short down and distances last week. And if you watch the Rams on a consistent basis, or you know someone who watches the Rams on a consistent basis like I do, the Rams give you the middle of the field consistently. The Rams will give the quarterback the middle of the field to throw the ball because they feel like their pass rushers can get to the quarterback fast enough where he can't get rid of the ball. So they leave the middle of the field open. Zach Pascal, I think, works effectively over the middle of the field. Michael Pittman's their deep threat. They have Nyheim Hines who catches the ball in the flat, right? They have Mo Alley Cox and they have Jack Doyle, their tight ends, who go down the seam. And they have Zach Pascal catch the ball over the middle. I don't know if Zach Pascal is going to score twice again, but I think he's going to have a boatload of targets on Sunday. And I think I could see Zach Pascal going for like 8 for 90. I could see him doing that on Sunday. So sneaky good flex play, I think. Zach Pascal, number 14 of the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow, I like that.
John, we have one more bust, the quarterback bust.
All right, I have 2 names written down, but I'm not going with either one of them. I just changed my mind off the cuff right now. I'm going Matty Ice as a bust this week, a quarterback against Tampa Bay.
Matty Ice was on my list of sleepers. I'm so interested to see what you have to think about this.
Matty Ice is interesting because last week he did not play very good. And give me a second. I'm just pulling up some stats here for Matty Ice.
Matty Ice.
I also shout out to the Sleeper app for being awesome at us finding stats. So Matty Ice last week had 6.3 fantasy points.
Hell yeah, baby.
It's terrible. So last year against Tampa Bay, all right, he had two okay games. I was gonna say his stat line. He had 33 points, and then he had 24 points. He was like 27 to 35 for 300, and then 29 or 44 for 265. I don't think that repeats itself this year with him. I feel like that team is in a world of hurt, and I don't think their offensive line is very good. I feel like the Bucs are gonna get after them. My other two busts I was gonna say was Tom Brady, only because I don't think he's truly a bust, but I just think the game script is gonna move more towards a running attack this week, like you were saying with Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. I not saying he would be a true bust, but just not scoring as many points as you would think. And then I was gonna say Dak going against the Chargers defense, but I was like, you know what, Dak looked solid last week. I'm not gonna do that to him in week 2, so I'm going with Matty Ice because I have no faith in that offense. There is no run game there, even to be desired. And aside from Calvin Ridley, I mean, where are we going with the ball?
Kyle Pitts. He had one catch last week.
He had one catch last week, and it felt like he was targeted like a million times. He was only targeted 3 times. So that made no sense to me. But anyway.
All right, those are our fantasy boos and busts. And before we go, it is time for game picks week 2. If you paid attention last week, John went 3-2, and I went 2-3. Both incorrectly guessing the Tampa Bay Dallas game. And
wait, I got to plug something, Joe.
Oh, talk to me.
I got to plug the TikTok.
Oh, talk to me about Maddie.
Listen, if you guys aren't following Perfect Spiral Podcast, I'm just double checking the TikTok handle because we have different handles on everything. It's actually Perfect Spiral Pod on the TikTok. My dog is doing weekly game picks. Okay.
It's actually fantastic.
She went 1-2 this week. She correctly picked the Bengals +3, but got Buffalo wrong and Atlanta wrong. But I'm 3-2, Joe.
You're 3-2. I'm 2-3. Maddie's 1-2.
Okay, so that's where we're at so far.
That's where we're at. We're gonna pick 5 games again, but we are not going to be obligated to pick the Thursday night game this week. So you can pick any 5 games you want.
Okay.
One of them needs. You could pick more than one if you want to, but one of them needs to be an upset.
One of them needs to be an upset. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pick. All right. So we're not talking about the 3 games. Okay. So we're talking about an upset with the spread.
Yes, with the spread.
All right. So the first one that jumps out to me is I'm taking the Raiders +5.5.
That's your upset special.
That's my upset special. I don't.
Okay.
I think that's a.
John is. You could tell John is taking the bait for the Vegas Raiders this week.
I'm taking the bait for the Vegas Raiders. I mean, they
+5.5. So do you think they win outright or they just cover the spread?
I think they just cover the spread. And then the other game I'm gonna take is I'm taking the Patriots -5.5 against the Jets.
Okay.
I think that they cover that easily.
Okay.
And then another game I'm going to take is... I hate to do this to my own team. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. I'm taking Dallas +3.5.
Whoa!
I'm taking Dallas +3.5.
That's a shocker to me.
The line shouldn't...
Do you take him to win outright?
Who, Dallas?
Yeah.
I would take them on the money line. I mean, what's their money line? Let me see. By the way, we are using FanDuel Sportsbook for our lines, in case anybody is wondering. Their money line is +164. The over-under for the game is 55.5.
I would bet the over on that game.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I would take the +3.5 on that.
So far you got Dallas +3.5, you got New England -5.5, and you got Vegas +5.5.
Yes.
Give me 2 more.
This is going to shock you.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Texans +12.5.
Whoa! John is going for heat this week.
That's an unbelievably high number.
12.5 though?
12.5 is crazy.
You think that the Texans are going to keep riding the high they get in week 1 and
I think they can put up some points. You know?
Okay.
And then the last game I'm going to take.
So far, John's got 3 dogs this week.
I do have 3 dogs, which, by the way, underdogs were 11-3 against the spread last week.
I know.
Wow, I can't believe I'm going to say this, too. I'm going to take another dog here.
No! John's going 4 dogs?
I'm taking Detroit at my +11.5.
Oh, no! Johnny's taking Detroit plus 11.5 on Monday Night Football in Lambeau.
I mean, listen.
Love
that team kept it close with
Love
San Francisco. And Green Bay did not look great. So you're catching a Green Bay team that came out flat-footed last week. You know? And Detroit's coming off of I guess you could call that a moral victory because they did keep it kind of close. And a team that we thought was going to get absolutely steamrolled. So...
Wow.
They did lose Jeff Okudah though for the year.
They did.
So that's what I'm taking this week. I mean, I'm gonna take a bath on it, but I feel like
all right, that was interesting. I'm gonna do mine here now. Okay, so
what's your upset special?
You want me to start with the upset special?
Yeah, because I gave you mine. So
okay, my upset special is going to be a couple things I like to shy away from when I do this stuff. I like to shy away from in-division games. I don't like those. I don't like picking those. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go there. I think at some point here. But my upset special is going to be taking the Philadelphia Eagles plus 3.5 at home.
Wow.
Against the San Francisco 49ers.
I like that.
Okay. I think that the Jalen Hurts hype train is alive and well. I think San Francisco, who just played at Detroit last week, has to go more to the East Coast this week in Philadelphia and play an Eagles fan base that's going to be rabid and ravaging. I think the perfect medicine for a 49er defensive line like the one they have is a mobile running quarterback, which is exactly what Philadelphia has. And, you know, the Eagles ran the ball really well last week, and the Lions found success running the ball against the Niners last week. So I think that could definitely be an upset. I had the Eagles to win that outright. Another one I got this week, I got the LA Rams going into Indianapolis, minus 3.5 and covering that spread. I picked the Rams last week to cover the minus 7.5 spread over Chicago. I like them again this week. Way too many similarities for me between the Seahawks and Indianapolis. Seahawks and the Rams. Shane Waldron, who was a quarterback coach for the Rams last year, is now the OC for Seattle. And you could see he already implemented his offense into Seattle's offense last week, where Russ just went down the field. We already saw that Matt Stafford likes to go down the field with this Rams offense. So I think it's going to be a lot of the same this week in Indianapolis, unfortunately for the Colts. But I like the Rams minus 3.5. I also, and I'm gonna do it because you didn't. I'm taking the Cardinals minus 3.5 at home over the Vikings. That to me, how could I not pick Arizona the way that Kyler Murray played last week? How could I not do that?
You're right. I agree. I was going to do it.
How could I not do that, right? I mean, it's hard to pick against your team, but like at home, first game at home, back with the fans against the team in Minnesota, who, as you said, did not look great on the offensive line last week, did not look great in the secondary at all. No Cam Dantzler and, Patrick Peterson did not look great. I think it's a recipe for disaster from Minnesota.
I agree with you.
I
agree.
I am also going to go Bucks minus 11.5 in Atlanta.
Yeah. Such a big line.
I'm sorry. They're at home. I don't like going with big lines, but the Falcons are bad. They're really, really bad.
I agree.
Okay? Like, they're truly pathetic. I think the Bucks win this game like 40-10.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Okay? And then the last game I'm going to take, I've been going back and forth on this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. God forgive me. I'm going to do it. I hate myself that I'm doing this. I'm taking the Jags plus 6 against the Broncos on Sunday.
Well, that was a great pod.
I need some good juju, man. I need something to root for. They got embarrassed last week in Houston.
I could see Denver going completely stale and like this being like a 10-7 win for Jacksonville.
They got embarrassed last week in Houston. Okay, embarrassed. Denver's on the road for the second week in a row to start the season. Jacksonville's not going to want to come out, and they're not going to want to play as bad as they did in week 1. They're going to be in front of their home fans for the first time this year. Trevor Lawrence is making his Jacksonville debut. Urban Meyer's making his Jacksonville debut. As much as the Jaguar fans were upset after this loss on Sunday, they're going to be that. And the best recipe for letting all that negative talk go away is to what, John? Win.
Just win, baby.
Just win. I think this may be the upset of the week. And not because they're my football team. I just think the things are lining up nicely for Jacksonville this week. Denver's riding a high. No Jerry Jeudy this week. No Bradley Roby. Bradley Chubb is still on the fence, but it looks like he might play. I think, like you said, John, I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think it could be like 14-10, 14-13 type of deal. But we'll see. I'm going to go Jags +6 in this game.
Wow, he really did it.
I did it.
We're taking a bath on these picks.
We are taking a bath this week. Folks, we've been out here for about, what, John, an hour and a half now?
About an hour and 40 almost.
Oh, my God. So we are going to let you go. It's been a long night. But we had fun today.
We did.
I liked this. It felt like it was a little bit more formal, but there's a lot to cover, man.
There was a lot to cover.
A lot to cover. It's going to be this is kind of the format we're going to work with for the rest of the season, I think. We may change a couple of things up. May throw some extra segments in here and there and take some away. We'll let you know how it goes. But please give us your reactions. Tell us what you think of the episode. Let us know what you think about our game picks and our sleepers and busts, because we got stuff coming at you all week and all season on Perfect Spiral. John, you got
live
anything?
tweeting going down on the Twitter.
Yes, all day
At
Sunday.
PSP Pod.
We are going to be live tweeting this week, and in the middle of John coming home from Virginia to celebrate Spencer's wedding.
Congratulations, Spencer.
Congratulations to our producer, Spencer, on your wedding day. Enjoy it, my friend. The one piece of advice I will give you is don't worry about anything the day of. You're not in control of it. So if you have a chance to listen to the end of this podcast before you get married, enjoy the day. That's all I got for you, pal. Enjoy the day. It's the greatest day of your life. You'll remember it forever. So have fun. Enjoy it. Congratulations from yours truly. And I think that's all we got.
That's all we got, man.
That's all we got.
I'll be on the road Friday afternoon. So.
John will be on the road Friday afternoon, but we got a lot coming at you. We will hit you up on the Twitter this week. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week when we're recapping week 2 and looking ahead to week 3, and hopefully a Viking and Jaguar win.
Let's go.
Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.